Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
You think you've awakened. You've read the books, watched the gurus, meditated for hours. But deep down, something feels off. You're still searching, still craving. Why? Because your ego is smarter than you think. It's wearing a spiritual mask, and it's keeping you stuck right where it wants you. This isn't another feel-good video about enlightenment. This is the truth most spiritual teachers won't tell you. By the end of this video, you'll see how the ego traps even the most awakened minds, and more importantly, how to break free. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. Let's get one thing straight. Your ego isn't some cartoon villain trying to sabotage your spiritual journey. It's your mind's greatest trickster, convincing you that you're free while quietly pulling the strings. But why is this so dangerous? Because the more spiritual you think you are, the harder it becomes to see the ego's grip. It blends in, becomes invisible, and that's exactly how it keeps you stuck. Right now, you might be thinking, I've already done the work. I'm beyond this. That thought itself, ego. This is where most people stop. They think, I've figured it out. And that's the trap. That's why you're still searching, still unsatisfied. But don't worry, there's a way out. Keep watching, because by the end of this journey, you'll see the ego's game clearly. And once you see it, you'll never be fooled again. So what exactly is the ego? You've heard the definitions. It's the self, the voice in your head. But let's go deeper. The ego isn't just your sense of self, it's your survival mechanism. It's the part of your mind that craves control, certainty, and validation. And when you step into the world of spirituality, the ego doesn't disappear. It adapts. It evolves. Suddenly, your ego isn't telling you to chase money or status anymore. But here's the brutal truth. That chase is just another form of attachment, another chain. The ego has simply swapped its suit and tie for mala beads and a meditation cushion. Think about it. How often do you catch yourself judging others who aren't as awake as you? How often do you cling to your spiritual practices because you're terrified of losing your progress? That's not freedom. That's not awakening. That's the ego playing dress up, whispering, look how enlightened you are. And you believe it. Even the idea of letting go of ego can become an ego trip. You tell yourself, I'm working so hard to dissolve my ego, but in doing so, you're actually feeding it. The ego thrives on the illusion of progress, on the feeling that you're getting somewhere. But true awakening, so how do you break free? The answer isn't what you think, and it's coming soon. The key to escaping this trap is hidden where you least expect it. So why do so many people feel stuck after awakening? You've had glimpses of truth, moments of profound clarity. But now, it feels like you've hit a wall. That's not an accident. Your ego wants you there. It thrives in that limbo, convincing you that you've gone far enough while secretly holding you back. You've plateaued because you've mistaken knowledge for transformation. Reading about non-duality isn't the same as living it. Meditating for hours isn't the same as being present when life punches you in the face. The ego keeps you obsessed with doing more practices, more rituals, because it knows the real threat is in simply being. No effort, no striving. just awareness. And that terrifies the ego. And let's be honest, part of you clings to the identity of being awake. It feels good, right? Knowing things most people don't, feeling part of some higher plane of existence. Here's where the pain comes in. You thought awakening would erase your suffering, but instead, it amplified it. Why? Because the ego uses your pain like an anchor. It whispers, if you were truly awake, you wouldn't feel this way, making you doubt yourself, keeping you stuck in endless self-criticism. But the real trap, believing that awakening means escaping pain. True freedom isn't the absence of suffering. It's the ability to face it without running, without needing it to disappear. This is where most seekers get lost. They chase bliss, transcendence, some mystical beyond. But real awakening is grounded. It's raw. And your ego will do anything to keep you from seeing that. Because once you do, its hold starts to crack. And those cracks, they're about to get wider. So how can you escape it? Well, your ego isn't just a personal struggle. It's fed by everything around you, your environment, your community, even the so-called spiritual world. Think about it. Spirituality has become a social currency. It doesn't care if you're seeking enlightenment or likes. It just wants attention. And the spiritual marketplace, it's designed to keep you hooked. Courses, retreats, workshops, it all promises freedom but often sells you another cage. A more enlightened one, sure, but a cage nonetheless. But it goes deeper than just social validation. Your own mind is working against you. Cognitive biases, mental shortcuts you don't even realize you're taking, keep you stuck. Confirmation bias makes you cling to beliefs that validate your current path, even if that path isn't working. You ignore anything that challenges your spiritual identity because it feels like a threat. And the sunk cost fallacy, it keeps you investing time, energy, and money into practices or teachers long after they've stopped serving you because admitting you're stuck feels like failure. And the ego, it can't handle failure. The harsh truth is, the more you build your identity around being awakened, the harder it becomes to let go. Your ego convinces you that you've come too far to question yourself now. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. But it's necessary. Because only when you dismantle the illusions you've built around your awakening can you start to see what's real. And that's where we're headed next.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
So then, how do you break free from the ego's spiritual trap? It starts with radical self-honesty, the kind most people avoid because it shatters everything they cling to. Look at your spiritual path without filters. Why are you really meditating every day? Is it to be present or to feel superior to those who don't? Are you seeking truth or seeking comfort? Your ego knows how to hide behind good intentions. But when you strip them down, the truth becomes clear. And here's the uncomfortable part. You have to be willing to challenge everything. Every belief, every practice, every spiritual truth. you've accepted. The ego hates this because it thrives on certainty. True awakening means bringing awareness into every moment. When you're stuck in traffic, when someone pisses you off, when life doesn't go your way. It's not about escaping reality. It's about facing it fully, without the stories your ego spins to protect you. Humility is your greatest weapon. Not the fake humility that says, "I'm just a humble seeker," but the raw, uncomfortable humility that admits, "I don't have all the answers, and maybe I never will." The moment you embrace not knowing, the ego starts to lose its grip. Because the ego craves certainty. When you stop feeding it that certainty, it weakens. But this isn't just about tearing down. It's also about building awareness. Simple, daily introspection, asking yourself, is this my ego speaking right now? Can unravel years of conditioning. Letting go of spiritual materialism, this endless need to collect spiritual experiences or wisdom, frees you from the ego's endless hunger. And the more you practice this awareness, the more you'll start to see the ego for what it is, a shadow. It only has power when you're not looking directly at it. And when you do, that's where real freedom begins. The final key to breaking free is right in front of you. It's the moment when you realize that awakening isn't about becoming someone new. It's about shedding everything you thought you had to be. This is where most people turn back. Because real freedom isn't comfortable. It demands that you confront parts of yourself you've buried. Your fears, your insecurities, your darkest thoughts. The ego will tell you to run, to seek another practice, another teacher, another distraction. But freedom, it's found in staying. In looking directly at your discomfort and realizing it has no real power over you. And here's the truth that many don't want to hear. There's no finish line. Awakening isn't a destination. It's a constant unraveling, a continuous process of seeing through illusions as they arise. The ego will try to convince you that you've made it. Don't fall for it, because it thrives on your need to be something. Without that need, it has nothing to hold on to. So, where do you go from here? You stop running. You stop searching. And you start seeing. Every moment, every thought, every feeling becomes an opportunity to ask, is this real? Or is this my ego? And in that awareness, moment by moment, the trap begins to dissolve. Not all at once. Not perfectly. But slowly, relentlessly, until one day you realize you're free. Not because you fought your ego, but because you stopped believing its lies. This is the path most won't take. But for those who do, it changes everything. The question is, are you ready? Pause for a moment. Something inside you already knows the truth, doesn't it? The ego's trap isn't some distant problem. It's right here, right now, woven into your thoughts as you listen to this. It's the voice whispering, I already know this, or maybe there's something better out there. That's the ego. It will always push you to keep searching, because the moment you stop and face it, it starts to lose power. But here's what no one tells you. The answer isn't out there. It never was. It's in the silence when you stop running. It's in the discomfort when you stop avoiding. And it's in the stillness when you stop chasing. Your ego will fight this. It will convince you that you need more time, more knowledge, more something. That's the trap. The escape. It's deceptively simple. Pay attention. Not just during meditation, but in the everyday, mundane moments. Notice when your ego tries to assert itself, when it seeks validation, when it clings to certainty, when it feeds off comparison. Don't fight it. Just see it. Because seeing it clearly is the first step to breaking free. Most people will keep searching, endlessly trapped by the illusion of progress. But you don't have to. You've seen how the ego keeps you stuck, how it feeds on your spiritual identity, your need for progress, your fear of not being awake enough. You've seen how it hides in plain sight, convincing you that you've escaped while quietly pulling the strings. But now, you know its game. And when you see the game clearly, you stop playing by its rules. The final key to breaking free, it's not another practice or technique. It's a choice. A choice to stop feeding the illusion, to stop chasing awakening like it's some prize to be won, to stop using spirituality as an escape from life, and instead, meet life head on, with open eyes and an open heart. The ego thrives on your need to be someone, even someone spiritual. The moment you drop that need, even for a second, you taste freedom. And here's the secret most people never discover. The ego doesn't vanish. It doesn't need to. True freedom isn't about eliminating the ego. It's about no longer being controlled by it. The ego will still whisper, still try to trap you. But when you see it for what it is, it loses its grip. To let go of the stories your ego tells you. To stand in the uncomfortable truth without running. Most will hear this and move on, back to their endless search. But a few will stop, will look within, and will start to see the trap for what it is. And those few, they'll find what most never will. The question is, which one will you be?